a distribution agreement with Film Buff, so they're gonna go try to make money off this. So good luck, right? We'll see how that works out. They're distribution. They call themselves a digital content curator, and they're based in New York City. And they did Exit Through. They distributed Exit Through the Gift Shop and Super Size Me, a bunch of kind of fun sort of niche sort of documentaries, and so yeah, we'll see what happens with this one. But they're thinking like international video on demand, Xbox 360. I don't know. Will that even be around anymore? I don't know. That's also a retro game device, right? So, yeah, Xbox One, right? Exactly. But I have a couple of posters. There was this guy. He lives in Brazil, and he got this commission to do this subway art, and it was just a bunch of guys like standing in front of old video games. I just thought it was so cool. I saw it on Flickr, so I contacted the guy and asked him if he would do some art for the Blu-ray that I'm working on that's coming out probably around California Extreme time. And this is the poster that he ended up doing for me, which I really enjoy. I don't know. I think it turned out pretty cool. So we have red, and we have green, and we have blue. So if anyone wants one, I don't know. Thanks to Kendra for those, and Rich. This old game, yeah. Thank you. So, any questions? Does anybody? It's supposed to be interactive. Sorry, you dance or something. The music was by Gene Bodine. Most of you guys know him, but check him out, genebodine.com. He plays these really unique instruments. They're 11-string basses, and you saw the one at the end there has like a pearl inlay of a joust character on the fretboard. And the other one has Pac-Man tuning pegs, and he told me about a third one that he's working on that I'm sworn to secrecy, but it's another cool video game character and they take like 10 years to make, I think. So they're yeah. Anyway, any questions? That's a really good question. Thank you. Yeah. So the question was, how long did it take? And I actually started filming this at the California Extreme in 2007. So it's coming up on 6 years, which is crazy. It's hard to even think. And it's not like I worked on it every day, but I went back to school. I went to grad school. I got an MFA. This was kind of just sort of always hanging around in the background, and, something I got to get this thing done. I got to get this thing done kind of thing. But I edited it on an old Power PC with Final Cut 6, so if anyone is an editor. But actually, by show of hands, how many people collect video games here? Okay, I was thinking that, because I showed this last week in San Francisco to just a general audience. They totally laugh at all the different jokes. Like these guys, you love Tim's story. I could tell the stuff you guys are really getting into was all the nerdy collector shit, which is kind of cool. I'm a fellow collector, so that's right. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah, exactly. I was really impressed with some of the games I saw upstairs. So a lot of stuff I haven't seen in a long time. There was what was the one with it looked like kind of a Kubert ripoff? It was Jackrabbit or something. That is cool, man. I've never. Yeah, amazing. Yeah, awesome. Sorry, so I kind of got sidetracked. Someone was asking me a question. 6 years was the answer. Yeah, so it took a long time. Yeah. So my joke is that if you're a film editor, it took John, maybe he's the only one who'll get this joke. Is it I think I wasted a year of my life just rendering files, So. But any other questions? Yeah. You, sir. Oh, that's a great question too. Yeah, what's my Grail game and how I found it? My Grail game was a cliffhanger, and I spent probably 5 or so years. I started collecting probably 97, 98, and I spent 5 or 6 years trying to find one. And I found one. It had been converted into some JAMA game, but it was the cabinet, and I thought, okay, I'm going to piece this thing back together. And I started collecting all the boards, and I think. And it arrived in Forward Air. Had mashed it up, so I got the game for free, which was kind of cool. But I thought I'm never going to get this thing back together. And I think literally about a month later, there was one on eBay, and so I just bought it. So I ended up having 2, and I ended up using the one to get the other one fixed. So for a while, I had 2 working cherry restored cliffhangers in my bedroom. We called them the twins. No, and it was. Yeah, so this was a Stern kind of a response to Dragon's Lair that used the Miyazaki the Lupin the Third animation, and it was, yeah. It's sort of a fun game. Yeah, there's a little bit more to do because you have 2 buttons and whatever. So I ended up selling one, and and I still have the other one. So it's fun.
I noticed that you travel to everybody's locations to get footage of them in person and their spaces. Did you get the idea for the film after visiting everybody, or was the film just an excuse to go hang out at everybody's home arcade?
Busted, yeah. You know me too well, yeah. A fellow collector. Yeah, really, this whole thing was just an excuse to go check out all these cool home arcades. And again, like, my timing was amazing in some ways because, like, the summer I went to see Peter, which I think was the summer of 2008, like, I think a little bit after Memorial Day. His arcade closed, I think, at the end of that year, or toward the end of that year. So, and we were there for 8 or 9 hours one day, and we had the whole place all to ourselves. So, yeah, it was like being a 12-year-old kid again. So yeah, you could see, all the money's on the screen, right? I bought a camera, and I used my frequent flyer miles, and I couch surfed, and I traveled the country for a couple of years filming people just to hang out and play their video games. That was basically it, yeah, so. It's gone. He sent me an email about a month ago asking me if I wanted the carpet. So I'm like, yeah, please send it out. So I guess somebody bought the house, and all the games are not there anymore. He divorced his wife, and yeah, I don't really know all what happened. I kind of lost contact with him for a while, but he recently resurfaced, and this played at MagFest, I think, last November, and he was there to do the Q&A and talk about it and stuff. And I think he's trying to start a museum with the MagFest guys or something. So he's still got a lot of his games in storage. And oh, that's the first I've heard that. Yeah, he's saying he sold 2/3 of them, but he's kept some of them. And so yeah, I see he still wants to start a museum with the MagFest. It's the Music and Game Festival in Maryland. Those guys. Yeah, so he sent me the email, the buyer of the house, and said, contact this guy if you want the carpet. I thought, yeah, that would just be, like a kismet full circle thing. If I could put that in my garage, it'd be awesome. So I contacted him. He's like, well, I haven't closed on the house yet, so it might have been a little premature to, start swooping on the carpet. But so who knows? TBD. I'll let you know if I get the carpet. Is that an okay answer? I don't know. Yeah, cool. Anyone else? You, sir. I think that one was reversed, yeah. Yeah, I think so. Does anyone know for sure?
They made John take the point.
Oh, I think he's talking about are you talking about the Massachusetts one, or the, yeah. Yeah, so the Massachusetts, I think it's been reversed. Yeah, the Lakeland, Florida, he doesn't live there anymore, so it doesn't really matter, but yeah, they basically made him surrender all his coin mechs, which is, how ridiculous is that? And that's a DVD extra. Like, people get into this idea of whether to run their arcades with, quarters or tokens. Some people want to like print customized tokens, and some people like just that idea of like having the money, and other people just think it's a pain to kind of keep everything working, kind of thing. But Peter had his with a coin machine, a token machine. It's kind of fun, because you go, and Brett Pulliam has his with a token machine. So because you actually go up and get the coins, and it just it's the full experience again of just being in the arcade. But all mine are on free play, and maybe I'm just too lazy. I don't know, but I think most people end up doing that. How many machines did I have? I have about 50. They're mostly in my garage. It's kind of like a one-person arcade because the rows are really tight, but most of them are working, and I have probably 4 or 5 in my office. So. My girlfriend, she's, she, as long as they stay out of like the public spaces. My story is that I used to live in San Francisco, and we had this 2-bedroom apartment, and that's kind of when I got the bug. And so I turned one of the bedrooms into an arcade, and then I turned the living room into an arcade, and then I ended up with another row in the bedroom. And I was thinking, like, could I get one in the kitchen or the bathroom? Were there any other spaces possibly? And then the landlord decided maybe we shouldn't live there anymore. So he sued us actually to kick us out, and we ended up settling out of court and buying a house, so that was kind of nice. But at least as I keep telling my girlfriend, it was like I'm a glass half full kind of guy, so I'm like, we got some money for a down payment. She's like, we got kicked out of San Francisco, so I guess it depends on how you look at it. But I was able to keep most of the games, and I moved them all to the suburbs. So oh well. Okay. Yeah. There she is. Yeah. I'm sold. That works for me. Yeah, totally. Maybe one more question, if there is one. I don't know. Yeah. So I'm trying to get it done for California Extreme. I think all the materials. There's about 100 extra minutes of outtakes. I shot about 800 hours of footage, which I think that's kind of typical for a documentary because you end up with a really high shoot ratio. And I transcribed all the interviews, which helped a lot when I finally started editing. But so the Blu-ray will have the actual transcriptions of all these people talking, and some of these guys like Brian and Tim, I talked to them for like 4 or 5 hours, just at once. It was just like two geeks, just like geeking out on video games, and we kind of even forgot the camera was on. And I think that's why there was some nice moments there, because technically maybe it's a little shoddy, but we just sort of forgot the camera was on. It was just like two kids like geeking out about video games. So the guard went down, and they didn't think I was. When I started this, it was right when King of Kong came out, and everyone was afraid of being chumpatized. I was like, "You're going to chumpatize me?" And I'm like, "No," So once they found out I was a fellow collector and the kind of the spirit of the thing, I think they sort of came around. And it was just really fun, just BSing with people and talking to people about games and stuff. So, which is what we're doing now. So enjoy the rest of the show. Thanks again for coming. Cheers.